Okay, so I'm back. Okay, I'm back. This is part 2. So we're gonna do a quick recap. I just want to tell. Let's just do a quick recap. So we're talking about narcissism. I'm using my own personal experience as a guide. We spoke about the court situation. I'm currently dealing with a court situation with my child's mother because I feel like she's using my kid as leverage, which all women do. Not only narcissists, but a lot of women do that. You know, you don't have to be a narcissist to use a child as leverage. But narcissists do use children as leverage. So we talked about the fact that I'm dealing with some court situations. I gave you guys a little backdrop of how our relationship went, the dynamic, some of the narcissistic things that I was starting to see within her. And maybe if she gave a testimony, she would probably say she's seen some narcissistic things in me. We could talk about it, but we don't really communicate because she does not want to communicate. Currently, I am in the silent treatment perspective, okay? So I wouldn't say that I was discarded because when we broke up, we sat down and we talked about it. You know, we had reached a point to where she wanted to go back home. So I'm like, okay, cool. I ain't stop her or nothing. We were living together when she moved out. I was outside watching her move out. I could have been somewhere else, but I was outside. I could have helped her, but I didn't really want to because I didn't want her to leave, but she ended up leaving anyway. One thing I know for sure as a man about women, you can't force them to do anything. There's no forcing a woman to do anything. Okay? When a woman wants to leave, you as a man, you gotta let her. Because a lot of times they leaving for better opportunities. And at that time, you may not be a viable option for them. So you cannot prevent them from moving on to better opportunities. Even if they get over there and they find out that the grass ain't greener on the other side. You gotta let them make that choice. You gotta let them make it on their own. And pray for them throughout the process, okay? Just pray for them. So I wasn't discarded. We talked about it. We talked about it and then it happened. So on the surface, it wouldn't look like she's suffering from great amounts of narcissistic abuse. So for the duration of this, I'm gonna say she a baby narc. Baby narc. Not like a fully developed, mature narc, but just like a baby narc. So right now I'm dealing with the silent treatment in the spectrum of things that narcissists put people through, okay? So narcissists typically abuse people, okay? And they abuse usually by proxy. Now what this means is they don't directly abuse you, but they may abuse you in ways that they know gonna hurt as equally as if they physically abuse you. Now, male narcissists can be abusive. They can use their words, they can use their hands, they can use their fists, their feet, they can use their money. Female narcissists are a little more subtle, okay? Like a female narcissist, she will withhold sex from you. Excuse me, is this. Female narcissists are bitter. They can be very vindictive. They hold your kids away from you, put you on child support. They stalk you, stalk your new girlfriend, everything. They go crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends on the dynamic in which you are dealing with, right? So co-parenting with narcissists is extremely tough, especially if you're a man, because you have to deal with the emotional side of women and you have to deal with the mental breakdown that comes with the narcissism. Because narcissism is a personality disorder, okay? And it's a spectrum. So a lot of things happen during a narcissistic experience. You know, sometimes narcissists love bomb. Okay, let me tell you something about a narcissist. What they're gonna do? They're gonna for sure love bomb you. You are for sure going to get love bombed by a narcissist. It has to happen. It happens every time. And 100% of the cases of narcissistic experience, narcissists love bomb, especially in the beginning, because it's their audition. It's essentially their way of saying, this is what I have as far as love to give you. They'll love bomb you for like 3 months, 6 months. And then when the dynamics start to change, it's because they done ran out of gas. That's what I learned about narcissists. They only have enough gas in the tank to last between like 6 and 12 months. And then that's when the abuse start happening. Or when the love bombs start to slow down and you pick up on their patterns, like I'm gonna use myself for example. Like I said, this is a personal experience thing too, just for credibility's sake, you know, because I really don't have a degree in psychology, but I'm studying psychology right now. I'm learning from a self-taught type of perspective. In the world of academics, most academics don't respect individuals who self-teach themselves, you know, that indulge in self-taught, because they expect you to go to some university, have some degree or something to prove that you have validation when it comes to the things that you're talking about. So because I don't have a degree, I'm going to use personal experience as far as like some credibility, okay? So in my personal relationship with my so-called narc, who's my child's mother, I started to notice that on a 2-week interval, we would have an argument and she would need to escape and go to her auntie house, which she didn't stay that far from where we lived, right? So once I started to notice this pattern, I'm like, okay, I started to calculate it. Like, okay, watch this. Let's see if this argument happened. So when the time comes, we have an argument happen, she'll have to run down to her auntie house. We'll make up, blah, blah, blah. She'll come back. And then I'm like, okay, let me see in 2 weeks if this happened again. So 2 weeks happen. I'll try to play it as cool as possible, but an argument will arise. I wouldn't be able to express myself properly because, like I said, in this type of dynamic, I felt like I wasn't able to properly express myself. And because I wasn't able to properly express myself, that did cause frustration. And then she would just escape. So I'm like, okay, let me use discernment, the discernment that the Lord has given me to decipher what this is. Maybe I'm overreacting or maybe I'm overthinking, but because it was happening on a time scale and frequently, like every 2 weeks, bi-weekly, I had to be honest with myself, like, okay, this is a pattern. When I noticed the pattern and I brought the pattern up to her, you know, I felt like we had some discrepancies. They weren't huge discrepancies, but it's just about peeping the pattern. Because when you peep the pattern, you avoid great amount of trauma. I'm gonna be honest with you guys right here. Everybody in the YouTube world, listen to me. If this video has came across you, you're supposed to hear it. So please listen to me. To avoid being a victim or suffering from great amounts of trauma in the wake of dealing with a narcissist, you have to pay attention. You have to use discernment. You have to be vigilant in your observation. You have to be realistic in your vetting because, like I said before, narcissists are abnormal people. I identify as a super empath, meaning I can feel the emotions of people that's around me. So much so that sometimes I am distressed by what I feel from other people. Distress from what I feel by that's coming off other people, feelings that's coming off other people. I didn't ask for this. This is just something God gave me. I'm blessed. I'm not gonna complain. There's nothing to complain about. It's a gift. But you know, being a super empath, narcissists are attracted to us because we have that love and that light energy that they don't. And during the love bombing stage, they imitate us. They come into our lives and they give us the love that we portray to them. And then when they run out of gas, it's because they never really ever had it. Why you think an empath would take a narcissist back over and over and over? I'm not a fan of that. And I'm not a promoter of that either. If you are in a situation where you're dealing with a narcissist and they keep leaving and coming back, you got to be the one that set that boundary and be like, no, ain't no coming back. We ain't doing that. Like, so I'm going to give you another perfect example. In my dynamic, dealing with my so-called narcissistic child's mother, there's never going to be a relationship again. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I'm 100% okay with that because I took 2 weeks to warn her. Now, let me tell you something that she can never say. She can never say, oh, he chased me. He hounded me. He wanted me. Let me tell you something I never ever said. I never said to my child's mother, don't have another man around our kid, because she's proven to be a great mom, meaning that I can trust her at least as far as who she have our son around. So I never had to be insecure or in my feelings about some other guy. Like currently right now, she has a boyfriend. I don't be calling her phone checking for her. I don't be calling her phone checking to see what her and her man doing. I'm not in my feelings about him being around my son because of the dynamic between me and my son. I'll give you guys an example. Like, when I go pick up my son from her, we used to meet. As soon as he saw me, he will reach out to me like this. It'll be like this. Come get me, Dad. So I would put him in my hands and he'd be happy to go. When it's time to drop him off back to his mom, as soon as he used to see her face, he used to start crying. I really don't know how to explain that. I really don't. This is my first kid. So this is my first time being in a dynamic like this. So I really don't know how to explain why a kid would be upset when they see their mother's face. But a couple times, like when she used to come and get him from my home, he used to run away. Like soon as he seen her face, he used to like run. And at first I used to think like maybe it's because he just didn't want to leave me. He'll cry too. Like soon as I take him to put him in her arms after a return visit, he used to just start crying. Like the last time, I haven't seen him in a while. I'm being honest, I haven't seen him in a while. But the last time that I've seen him and when I went to give him to her, he just started crying. And it breaks my heart every time because I know that he loves spending time with me. It's a great environment. As an empath, as a super empath, it's great for super empaths to have children because we get to pour all of the love that the Lord pours into us. We get to pour that into our children unconditionally. Let me tell you something that I learned about super empaths. Super empaths pour unconditional love into their children. When narcissists only pour a portion in because they don't have enough of capacity. Like a narcissist will come into your life, love by me for 6 months. They have a kid and they'll love their kids for 6 months. And the rest of the time, they'll just take care of them. Because in the true fashion of love, you cannot accurately love someone else if you don't love yourself. Even your kids. Okay? Even your children. You have to love yourself first to be able to love even your children. So a narcissist who doesn't even really love themselves will be hard pressed and have hard times loving their children. That's why a lot of times when you have massive amounts of abuse and a family-like dynamic, it's because the parents be narcissists, incapable of loving their children because they are incapable of loving themselves. Like I seen a little bit of a narcissistic dynamic within my child's mother's family unit while I was vetting her. Like I'll use myself, I use my own situation example for credibility. Like when my child's mother introduced me to her family, I was able to pick up on who the narcissist was. I'm not going to say who the narcissist was, but it was evident because this individual demanded all of the attention in the room. If there was like 10 people in the room, this individual was the center. And this individual was a very vital person to my child's mother. So I'm like, okay, there go the narc. So if my child's mother start acting narc-like, I know where she got it from. I know exactly where she got it from. So when the narc type activity started to happen with my child's mother, I'm like, okay, I'm peeping where it came from. I can't really be mad holistically at her because I'm peeping where it came from in a family dynamic, right? So what you need to understand about these type of dynamics is we try really hard as super empaths to love these individuals who are a bit abnormal. But the truth is we cannot, not because we don't have the capacity or neither because we lack the willingness, but because they lack the capacity. And a lot of times, once exposed, they lack the willingness. They give the willingness up. So right now, I'm dealing with the silent treatment. And I'm going to tell you why I think why. This is just my hypotheses. This is my hypothesis. Like the co-parenting was going great. Everything was going great until I had asked my child's mother to do something that I kind of knew that it wasn't time for me to do, but I was ready. So I took 2 weeks and mourned her. I was over the situation. But we had ended up marrying each other using my Bible. I'm a Christian person. I don't believe in legalities, especially not the legalities of this world, right? So I had loved her a lot. And I didn't want to be in a situation where we were doing things, we were fornicating. So I had asked her to marry me. I'm like, can you marry me, please? I love you. She said, yeah, where your Bible at? So I went and got my Bible and I had asked the Lord to marry us. And he had granted our wish. You know what I'm saying? This was a wish of mine. So we ended up having a kid. She had got pregnant after we had did the marrying thing. So we didn't have a kid out of wedlock. Like, we live in a wicked world where the wickedness of this world will make a person not value the spiritualness behind a marriage, even if you use the Bible. You know what I'm saying? The world will say, well, yeah, it seemed like y'all married in the spirit, but because y'all ain't signed no certificate, y'all not legally married, so it ain't a real marriage. I used to get told that from people. When I would wear my wedding ring and people would be like, well, are you married? I'm like, yeah, I'm married. They was like, you legally married? I'm like, no, spiritually married. They be like, well, you ain't really married then. I ain't look at it like that. I looked at it like we were spiritually married. So it had got to a point to where I was talking to this chick. I was really liking her, and I wanted to like move on with advancement of this of my relationship. So I had said to my child's mother, like, look, we ain't together no more. We ain't gonna be together, not because I don't want to, but also because you don't want to. So this is a shared thing. It's not that we want each other. Let's just undo what we had did. I'm gonna get my Bible. We gonna ask the Lord to undo us, because the Bible says, what the Lord put together, let no man tear apart. So I figured if we ask the Lord in unison to take this apart, he can do it because he the one that put it together. So I'm like, okay, when we link up to exchange our son, I'm gonna bring my Bible and we gonna undo what we did, right? When I texted to her, she didn't respond. So it was no clear indication that she will want to do it. But I had told her earlier on, like, it's gonna come a time when I'm gonna want to do that. Please just be ready. She was like, well, I handled it with God already. You got to handle it. So I said, okay, well, Lord, how can I handle it? He was like, you got to handle it the way that you initiated it. And she going to have to respect that, because she was a willing participant. Like, I didn't force her to do it. I asked her. She said yes. So it's her responsibility to indulge too. Some people say I'm foolish for this or I'm asking too much. But I'm like, how? I didn't force her to do what she wanted to. So, of course, you should just want to divorce me in a sense. So we were supposed to link up to meet up to get my son and also to divorce in a sense. And I asked her, like, are you ready? Can we do this? She never responded. And I never even got to link up with my son. Some things that came up, I never even linked up to meet her so we can exchange him or do that. And that was the last time that I actually seen him, or I didn't even get to see him. So the time before that was the last time I actually got to see him. And I think that I'm dealing with the silent treatment and the full blast of narcissism because of that. But I'm shocked, because I'm like, how, girl? You got a whole boyfriend. What you talking about? But when you're dealing with narcissists, they don't even care if they in a relationship. They want control over you. And if they feel like they want control over you. And if they feel like they lose in the grip of control or a sense of control, they will indulge in the things that abnormal narcissists indulge in, which is like gray rocking or silent treatment or harassment by proxy or threatening or stalking. Currently, I'm just dealing with the silent treatment. I'm not saying she's stalking me. I'm not saying there's no harassment by proxy, none of that. I'm just saying I am receiving the silent treatment. That's it. But I'm sure somebody out there is probably being stalked, harassed by proxy, lied on, having your name and character defamed, smeared. Like, there's many different ways for narcissists to abuse you. But you are only a victim if you look at yourself as supply, and you indulge in victimization if you look at the other person as supply. Have some empathy and sympathy for them. You used to be them. You may have got out of it by the grace of God. Okay. I know this is supposed to be a serious topic, but I want y'all to let y'all know I'm a silly guy. I like to laugh. Sometimes we escape narcissistic situations by the hairs on our chin. Sometimes we just barely escape it. It's because of the grace of God. So be happy you out. The new person is not damn supply. I wish people would stop saying that. PSA, stop calling the new person supply. You are complicit in victimization when you do that. This new person is a human being with a heart, a soul, a spirit, legs, arms. They probably getting abused just like you. Think of that. I'm just going to do one more part and I'm going to be through. Because, you know, some people on YouTube, they make 20, 30, 40, 50 videos talking about narcissism. I don't want to give them that much credit. I don't want to give them that much glory. So it's probably just going to be one more and that's it. Okay?